Welcome back to GTD. That's Keegan. I'm Micah, and it's time for some MLB talk this week. If you want to check out the NASCAR stuff from Talladega, that'll be out on the channel already. If you're looking for the F1, that'll be out a little bit later this week as we get you set for Miami. Also, we got some short form stuff coming out. If you want to see all our adventures at Talladega this past weekend, go check out the Instagram and the TikTok. It'll all be there. But let's get into baseball, and let's start with
Pico Armstrong.
Suarez.
Oh,
no,
wrong guy. Sorry.
Shut up.
Sorry.
It's Eugenio Suarez. This
He deserves
guy,
it. He deserves it.
Yeah, Eugenio Suarez. Former Reds fan, or current Reds fan and me, a former Reds player, absolutely loves to see this. Gino still smashing. He may hit 220, but they're all going yard. 4-homer game.
Yeah, his first 4 homers that were against non-Cubs or ex-Cubs pitchers. So that's great for me to see because I know next time we play him, he won't have all that stored inside of him and just have to let it out.
And he'll be even happier because he did it to the Braves, although they still lost.
Yeah, which, I mean, they're not in our division, but who doesn't like seeing the Braves lose? I mean, they won, but,
Yeah, the Braves.
They lost in our hearts.
Did they win, really?
Yeah. See, Matt Olson seems to think that the win was the bigger story of the day than the 4 home runs. I would love to see his thoughts if the roles were reversed.
Yeah,
but
another fun fact here, Eugenio Suarez becomes the first player to have a 4-homer game and also be a teammate of someone else during their 4-homer game. Shout out Scooter Jeanette and the Reds digital camo jerseys. Real ones remember that game.
Yeah, and the third ever player to do this and lose.
Yes.
So, yeah, that sucks for him, but it doesn't suck in the long run because, it's a 4-homer game or whatever. And that's all great. But let's take a look at the standings real quick because we haven't really talked about that since the season started, and I feel like it's been going on long enough where this matters. Because the first 2 weeks you're just like, this is good.
That's
the
exactly
Angels are the
what
best.
you say.
Angels were the best team in baseball at one point in the American League, so
And they still are. Wait,
yeah.
what?
Are they actually the best team
No,
in the American League? I was about to say I think they skidded.
No, they're the third worst team in the AL. Or the fourth worst team in the AL.
Yeah, but I guess we'll start with the American League since we're there, and we'll start with the West. Mariners on top over the Rangers. This one's kind of surprising to me, especially with the start the Rangers got on, but they have imploded out West. They're in like a little.
Me.
Yeah,
we'll be talking about the Rangers implosion a little bit later when we get to high and low of the week.
Yeah, and you've probably seen what he's talking about, but also just. They blew a game against the Athletics the other night, and they had a lead going into the bottom of the ninth.
They also their pitcher walked Jacob Wilson, which is previously impossible.
Yeah, so this West Coast road trip has not been kind to them. I think once they get back in Globe Life or just back from out west, I think they'll be better. And this team is better than this. I still think they're in a good shot to win the division because their hitting really hasn't done what it's been expected to do. They've had a few pieces come on and off the IL. They've had Jock Peterson, who's just relearned how to hit a baseball, which is great to see. So I think once this team kind of figures it out, like, hey, we're a hitting team and we can do this, and our pitching staff is good enough to make us win the division, they'll be fine. And then obviously you have Houston and the Athletics right there, but the Athletics are pretty shocking that they're doing pretty good. They're fun to watch.
Real ones do. The Athletics had upside potential. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Over to the AL Central, Detroit Tigers currently the best team in the American League.
Yep.
Leading that division by 2.5 games. Guardians and Royals kind of existing. The Twins can't decide day to day whether or not they want to play baseball, and the White Sox are the White Sox. Into the AL East, it's Yankees and Red Sox at the top, the two that we predicted to be up there, but the big story in this division is the implosion that is the Baltimore Orioles at 10-17.
Yeah, and we'll get to that also in the highs and lows of the week, I think. Or did I nix them?
Listen, anytime you get beat 24-2 by the Reds, it's not a good season.
Yeah.
But let's jump on over to the NL. We'll start out west once again, and it's the Giants. I was a year early, never wrong, just early is what they say.
God, Lee's been off to a phenomenal start. Great to see him.
Lee is on fire. I believe the grandson of the wind is his nickname.
I think grandson of the wind was his father's nickname. So maybe his father was son of the wind and he's grandson of the wind.
I think he's grandson of the wind.
Maybe. I think you're right there. But yeah, incredible nickname, incredible season he's putting together so far. They got the hooligans.
Yes, he is grandson of the wind. We have verified.
And they have the hooligans in the outfield that they kind of like sell tickets for, which I think is great. I think more teams should do that towards certain players. If you have a player that it fits with, don't just try to force it on a guy like, let's be honest, Ian Happ. We have the bleacher creatures in Wrigley. We don't need something like that. But other teams, it's just cool. I like it. It's unique. Maybe don't oversaturate the market, but I like it.
It's fun.
Yeah. And then the Dodgers right behind the Giants.
Padres still
obviously,
right there.
yeah. Padres off to a better year than most had anticipated, especially with the pieces they have on the IL as far as their arms go. When those guys get back, this division's going to be a bloodbath.
Listen, if the Diamondbacks pitchers can pitch like they were supposed to, they'll be right in the hunt too.
Yeah, this
and then
division is
say a prayer for the
phenomenal.
Rockies, who are currently on a 23 win pace. They already have 23 losses, but they're on a 23 win pace. And let's jump the Central because that's our favorite. Let's go to the NL East next.
cool.
It's the Mets, and I got to give full credit to you here.
Yep.
I was very skeptical of this Mets rotation going in. You said they're just going to bomb the heck out of everyone and hit them to death, and that's exactly what they've been doing.
Well, actually,
and the rotation has been much better than I expected as well.
Right.
They have been great.
their hitting has been average. They're not excelling in any one stat, really. Now, I think that'll change once Juan Soto gets comfortable and
Once it stops being cold.
and Lindor has started to get hot in the last few days. So I think this is due to change, but their rotation has just been lights out. And I'll get more in depth later because this is also in the highs and lows. But yeah, Mets off to a great start. They have made their mark on the Phillies. I know
Yes.
Phillies fans are scared of the Mets right now, which is not something I would see.
And
But
meanwhile,
here we
no
are.
one's scared of the Braves.
Yeah.
They're actually 7-3 in their last 10. So
Yeah,
they're
they've started to-
improving, but they're still behind the Nationals right now. Then finally, everyone's favorite division, the NL Central,
Yay.
and it's currently the Cincinnati Reds in second place.
Yep. Because
No one
the
cares
Cubs,
who's in first.
Because the Cubs are in first. They've been off to an incredible offensive start.
How's the bullpen doing?
That's on. It's in the highs and lows, Micah. We'll get there. Okay. Don't get me started too soon.
I think y'all have been better than I expected. Kyle Tucker's been incredible
Yeah.
for y'all. PCA's playing great, and honestly, I'm just happy it's not the Brewers or the Cardinals at this point.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals have come back to earth. They're 3-7 their last 10, sitting at 12-16 right now. I think it's going to be a 3-man hunt. The Cubs, Reds, and Brewers kind
Can we
of
get
for
rid
this
of the
division.
Brewers, please?
I want to, but they're the Brewers.
Yeah, they'll stick around.
I don't know. But before we get into the very teased highs and lows at this point, we kind of talked about how we would do this when the season started, and that's the stolen base leaderboard because
Yes.
we anticipated one of my favorite guys and one of your favorite guys, as far as our team goes, will be at the top, and we weren't wrong. Ellie De La Cruz has 11 stolen bases. He's tied for, or I think he's in third.
Yeah, solo third.
And then Pete Crow Armstrong is tied for first with O'Neal Cruz,
Yes.
who's also in the Central.
With 12 each.
Yes, they have 12 each. So only one separates Ellie and PCA. But we got to figure out, let us know what happens. So if Ellie wins and he gets more stolen bases, there's something I have to do, and then vice versa.
I
if
feel
PCA
like
wins.
because we both own one, opposite guy's jersey on the show would be.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
mine's a jersey, but
Yeah, but I have
Yeah.
an LA City Connect jersey that I think would look great on you.
yeah, and I have an Anthony Rizzo jersey. I
As
miss him.
Keegan pauses to cry.
I miss him.
But one
yeah.
thing I do want to point out about these guys is the kind of forgotten guy in the middle, O'Neal Cruz, who is tied for the lead. Only one of these three with 0 caught stealing at this point. Ellie's
Yeah.
been caught 3 times. PCA's been caught once. Assuming by God himself behind the plate. I don't know who's catching PCA.
That's my favorite thing. I don't know. I may have told you this, but I've told a lot of people in the baseball world. My favorite thing about PCA running the bases is that when he steals, the camera, the marquee does a great job of this. The camera immediately goes to the catcher, and he just looks around going, what am I supposed to do?
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
There's nothing I can do.
Like, the one thing for Ellie is he's so long that I think it takes him a minute to get going, but once he hits speed, he's so hard to catch. But it gives you a chance to catch her. If you have an elite pop time, you have a chance with Ellie.
Yeah,
But PCA is so quick.
If I remember correctly, I think his caught stealing was he took off and the pitcher picked him off. I don't think it was from the catcher. I think
Yeah.
he took off to second. The pitcher realized it because he took off too soon and just kind of mowed him down like that. So I don't think a catcher has thrown him out yet.
Yeah, but we'll be following that all year. It'll be fun.
Yes.
Now time, though, for highs and lows.
What do you want to start with?
Let's start at the bottom. Let's start with the lows, and
Okay.
I'm going to let you start because I want to hear you talk about this.
Okay. My low is the Cubs bullpen right now.
Don't forget the sad face. It's in the document.
Yeah, I put a sad face next to it. I don't want to get too like fanish here. But how do you, as an organization, read what the fans have or just experience the season you had last year when you were in a good position to make the playoffs and maybe make a run, but your bullpen probably cost you 12 runs. I mean, their bullpen cost them
Yeah.
a lot of like runs. And I don't mean like, oh, their bullpen came in the 5th and cost them runs. Like, no, bottom of the
it's
9th,
bad.
like 3-run, even this year, like the Diamondbacks, an 8-run inning, an implosion. That's happened several times this year where the bullpen has come in and just imploded. I know the Phillies Cubs game on ESPN last night. The fans are really talking about that one. That one to me is a little different because it was a 1-1 game and it was a pitcher's duel the entire time. Mm-hmm. Yes, did he walk 2 guys to load the bases? Absolutely. That one's a little different than just them coming in the 8th and giving up 7 runs.
There have been games that for the Cubs look just completely in hand, and the bullpen comes in, and you have openers in the bullpen. There are no closers. You have a bunch of guys that open the door.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in Presley to close, and he hasn't pitched as much.
Think he could be an effective closer at this point anyway.
The
only
ERAs.
thing that can make sense to me is they just assumed, based on their experience with Anthony Rizzo, that Kyle Tucker could also close out games. And
I wish he could at this point. I mean, hey, we'll accept anybody. But, I mean, if you look in the bullpen, you just see a bunch of 5s as far as ERAs go.
It's just bad.
Upper 4 points, 5 points. I mean, it's not good. And there are some guys, like Porter Hodge, his ERA is inflated, but he's a guy who I think can be a closer. They just pulled.
He's had some good moments too. This year.
Merriweather's had some good moments. Palencia, I think he will be the closer. I think he will solidify himself as a closer as the year goes on.
Whatever happened to?
He's kind of electric. DFA'd.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I thought he was just like sent to a long relief role or something.
No, he had a rough stint last year. And
Yikes!
Got
okay.
hurt. Yeah. But yeah, that's my low. The Cubs bullpen. I do think though, because the way this team's hitting and that Cal Tucker maybe not be a 1-year rental, I think they're probably going to do everything in their power. Hopefully sooner than the deadline. Like I don't want them to wait for the deadline. Hopefully sooner than the deadline because I think that's kind of where this bullpen's at. Like you can't risk in the division you're in to kind of have them blow 4, 5, 6 games for the All-Star break before the trade deadline. So I think they're going to kind of work and get some pieces before the trade deadline to give their team and Kyle Tucker, since he's only here for right now 1 year, the best shot at this year.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to move to my low of the week and look away, Rangers fans, because it is the Heliot Ramos walk-off. And this is one of the worst things I've ever seen. I think it is the worst play I've seen since the Javi Baez versus the Pirates debacle. So Ramos hits it 20 feet, essentially right in front of the pitcher's mound. Pitcher comes off, rifles it past first base, goes to no man's land. Ramos is kind of just standing around second, not sure what to do. Eventually takes off. Rangers first baseman collects, fires at Jake Berger, fires across the third, skips in front of the third baseman's glove, goes to no man's land out in left field. Ramos rounds third, slides in head first. Didn't really even need to slide, but oh my goodness. Yeah. Disaster class from the Rangers. Like I said, one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I boil this down more so.
It took Ramos more than 18 seconds to go around the bases.
Yikes. I boil this more down to, I know there were physical errors as far as throwing the baseball, but to me, this is one big mental error. You don't make that throw as the pitcher.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? And then, once you do make that throw,
don't throw it back across.
You don't really make that throw either. I mean, I know you kind of had a... even with the clean throw, clean tag, I don't think you get them.
Yeah.
So I don't think you make that throw either.
It's a no-win situation on both throws. You're risking way too much for too little of a gain. But on to highs of the week now, a little bit more fun. What's your high?
The Mets. That is because they were my...
baby. Gotta love the Mets.
The Mets. That's because they were my division pick. So, yeah, like I hinted at earlier, their pitching staff has really just been like the reason they're here. I mean, their hitting's been average, but their pitching staff leads the majors in ERA. Their team has a sub-3 ERA. I mean, they have 273 strikeouts in 255 innings. That's incredible.
I have no idea how. You look at that rotation on paper, it does not pop like that.
Yeah, it's 5 shutouts already throughout the year.
They're great.
I mean, this team, I like.
You're a division pick, by the way.
Yeah.
You picked them to win the division?
Yeah, that's why they're my high, because they're living up to what I...
It's not important who I picked. As we move on to my high of the week.
Los Bravos.
And, my high of the week is a guy who after last year, was concerned that he would be a bust of a prospect. It is Noelvi Marte. Was the big piece of the Luis Castillo trade that sent him to the Mariners. Came to the Reds, had a solid first couple months, September a couple years ago. Last year, suspended for PEDs. Came back after the suspension, hit 210 to close out that season and 229 at bats after the suspension. Just looked like a lost player. Started the year in AAA, came up, and so far through 11 games, in his time on the Reds, has been the Reds' best hitter. And it's not close.
Yeah.
He's hitting .364, has an OPS over 1 at 1.063, has 3 bombs, 15 RBIs, and 4 steals. And also, this is a guy whose defense was much maligned last year and has come in playing like a gold glover at third. This is really the best case scenario for Noelvi Marte this year. I've loved it as a Reds fan because you look at the infield now, you have him at third, Elliott short, Matt McClain, who you'd expect to bounce back, started red hot, been ice cold. I think he's going to bounce back. He just hasn't played a ton of Major League Baseball yet at second. And then first, some combination of a Spencer Steer, CES when healthy. It's a good infield, especially once you get Tyler Stevenson back to play catcher. I've just been incredibly encouraged recently over the last. He's only played 11 games this year, but he's playing like an all-star.
It's been a great start for him. You just hope he's not back in the Capri Suns. But I mean,
That's
I think he should,
what I'm worried about.
I think he should be fine. But that's our highs and lows. Let us know what your highs and lows are. I'm sure as baseball fans like us, you have lots of lows you'd like to talk about.
And if you're a
So
Cardinals
drop 'em in the
fan, don't tell us you're high because I want to know that you're depressed.
Yeah, so just drop those in the comments. Like check out all of our baseball content we have. Our short form content, Micah hinted at the beginning of the show. All of our other stuff, it's just racing right now. So if you like F1 and or NASCAR, go check those out. We'll have previews, reviews for all the races. I'm Keegan Miller. That's Micah Farmer, and we'll see you next week.